Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about how I edit my Instagram photos. So before we begin, obviously I need to share with you what I use to take my photos, because obviously that makes a difference. I don't want you to see this video or see my photos and maybe you don't have the same camera and then you're frustrated because they don't look the same, because the camera makes a difference. Anyway, so sometimes I use my iPhone 11, which is the same one that I'm using to actually record this video. And other times I use a Sony camera, which is a 7R3, which I believe is a very expensive camera. So obviously you don't need it for Instagram photos, but I do have it. And then I also use sometimes it's a Sony Alpha 6000. So this is the camera. I don't know what type of lens this one is. If I figure it out, I'm gonna put it in the description box, but I believe it's just like a simple lens. I don't think it's like over the top type of lens. But yeah, so that's what I use. And then besides the camera, obviously settings matter. So in terms of my iPhone, there's absolutely no settings. Obviously it's just me pulling up the front camera or the selfie camera, and that's it. And then in terms of the Sony cameras, the settings, this is gonna obviously trigger real photographers, because obviously I'm not a real photographer, so I don't really know how to even use these cameras. But I think the cameras are just set on ISO is auto, and then sorry, but there's an F. I can't remember what it means, but it's I put it on 2.8. And that's it. Anyways, besides the camera, the other very extremely important thing to take a photo is lighting. Lighting is so important. For me, is the make it or break it of a photo, to be honest with you. Even more important than the makeup, even more important than the hair. Sometimes even more important than the pose. Obviously the pose is very important, but lighting is so important. Anyways, what I like to use the majority of the time is just natural light. I love window lighting, literally coming through the window. Window lighting, I really like it. Sometimes I also enjoy taking photos outside with natural light. I just if you're taking it outside, just make sure that it's not really harsh light, that you're literally squinting because you can't see, because it's so harsh on you, and you're you have that angry look on your face because the Sony is so bright and so hard and it's so hot. So if that's your setting, then your photos might not turn out great because the sun is so harsh on you. So make sure that whatever time you're going out, the sun is not that harsh. I've also heard that if it's cloudy outside, it's the best time to take photos because it softens the light, I believe. But yeah, anyways, on top of that, if I am shooting inside my house, and even if I'm using window lighting, even if I have window light in front of me, I also like to use a ring light on top of it, because there's certain the windows that I have in my house are not extremely big as I wish they were, and they don't fill the entire room with a ton of light, for example some studios that I've been for modeling. So I like to add another ring light, because if I am facing, let's say the window lighting is in front of me. So if the lighting is coming this way, and I'm looking this way, and I don't have light on this side of my face, but on this side, it's just not gonna look that great. It all depends, obviously, but you want your face to go towards the light. So that's why I like to add a ring light on top of it to make a light be literally right in front of my face. And if you're interested in a ring light, which by the way is really important for a model because of online castings and taking digitals, taking self-tapes, I'm gonna it's the link to the ring light that I use and I love to use is gonna be on the description box. And also other type of equipment that I use to take photos, especially also the tripods, because when I take photos, I cannot take them on the ring light if I'm using my phone, for example, or even if I'm using a camera. I don't like to put the camera on the ring light, so I use another tripod for that to make it stand and put it on a self timer. Okay, now that we have all of the equipment and the settings and the things that you need to take the photo, now we're gonna go to the actual like how I edit the photos. So first of all, I use VSCO, which is a free app as far as I'm concerned. Anybody can use it. I do pay a subscription, and I don't even remember why I pay a subscription. I feel like I'm wasting my money because I feel like I don't need it. But I'm not 100% sure, but I believe maybe the reason why I pay the subscription is because if you want to use all the filters, I think you have to pay for it. And in the free version, I think there's just like a certain amount of filters that you can use. But I'm not sure, just download the app and check. But yeah, I do pay for it. So anyways, so before I get into VSCO, what I do is that I favorite the photos that I like and the ones that I want to edit or the ones that I think they have potential. And then I import all the favorite photos. And then I pick a photo and I start. So when I choose the photo, the first thing that I'm gonna try and like experiment with are the filters. So I usually go through the suggested filters that are under like for this photo, and I just experiment with them. Sometimes they might not work, sometimes they will. If they don't really work, I might go to previous photos that I've edited in the past and try to like check out that filter in the photo that I'm currently editing. And that's how I figure it out. But the most important thing for me to start editing a photo is to make sure that a filter works with it. So once I like the filter, then I go in to do the rest. And the way that I like to like choose these filters, even though these photos are for Instagram, I want them to like kind of like staying true to like real colors and not make it like look super filtered, like too dramatic with the colors. Hope that makes any sense, but that's how I choose the filters that I want to use with my photos. Anyways, after I chose the filter, then I make sure that the crop makes sense enough for me to invest in editing the photo. Because the thing is that if the crop is not gonna make sense, then I'm just not gonna edit the photo. So what I'm talking about here is, I believe it's called the rule of thirds, which is basically when you put the photo, and since it's gonna be for like Instagram, I use 3:4 ratio, and then it gives you a grid. So for the rule of thirds to work is that you have to put the intersection of the lines on top of one of the eyes, and if that works and if doesn't crop out any like elbows, wrists, knees, like right in the middle, then we're good to go and I'll edit that photo. But if the crop is like doesn't make any sense, I have to like really like make the photo like really like zoomed in for it to like land on like the eye, then I'm not gonna crop the photo, I'm not gonna edit it unless I really like the photo. Obviously I'm not strict about this, but unless I really like the photo and maybe at least like one line is going through one of the eyes, maybe not the intersection, but at least a line is going through one of the eyes, I'll edit that photo. Then I check the exposure, contrast, and saturation. Usually, not always, depending on the filter, depending on the lighting on the photo, usually I'll add between like 0.5 to 1 on the photo. Sometimes a photo is really like dark and I'll add more than 1 for exposure. Sometimes the filter already add a bunch of like saturation for the photo, so if I add more saturation to it, it's gonna look too orangey and stuff. So I'll play with it depending on the type of photo that I'm using, but usually I do touch these 3 like things. Then when I do the white balance, like I said, I really like my photos to like resemble like true colors, and I don't want them to look like too orangey, and I want them to look like go towards like cool colors rather than warm colors. And the only reason why I like to do this is because I want the walls of my house or of my room to look white, or like as close as possible to white. I just like the aesthetic. I don't like when my walls in my photos look yellowish, and my walls they're not like white. They're like, what color is this? Like, yeah, but they're not white. They're not like a true white, and that's what I like for my photos. So that's why I do that like white balance thing, because I want the type of like aesthetic in my photos. So what I do is that usually I'll do the temperature towards like between the temperature and the tint, both of them usually they'll go towards the minus, like -1, between -1 and minus like 0.5, depending on, like I said, like what the filter already did, how the picture is looking, and all that stuff. I don't want to add anything that looks that it's too much. Then the skin tone option, like that one, like it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I feel like you can put it all the way up and it's not gonna make your photo look bad or anything like that. But I usually play around with between like 1 and like 3. Then I like to test the grain option. Not all my photos I feel like they work with the grain, but sometimes I like how it looks. I think it gives like a nice aesthetic to it. So if I like the grain on it, then I'll add between like 1 and 3. 3 is a little bit too much, so it's more like a 1.5. Lastly, I like to add an orange split tone between like 1 and 1.5. That's again, it's like an aesthetic. Like I do want myself to not look too pale, because sometimes whenever I am adding a filter and I'm adding exposure and I'm making the colors go towards cool tones, then my skin tone turns like pale. So that's why I like to add the orange split tone at the end. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I do like to keep like my brown skin on my photos, so that's why I add it towards the end. So this is how I edit my photos. Basically, the only thing that really like changes every now and then is the type of filter that I'm using, because for some reason, even if I take the photo in the exact same place, but I take it another day, maybe slightly different angle, maybe the lighting is slightly different, it might not work. So I have to use another filter. So I like to play around, see what's up and that type of stuff. But yeah, basically the filter is the only thing that is like constantly changing, like the one that I'm using, but everything else, like the recipe, is like pretty much the same. So hope you guys found this video helpful. Hope that it can help you edit your photos if you like the way that I edit my photos. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I love answering your questions. Make sure that you follow me on my Instagram, which is where I post all of my pictures, and also follow me on my other social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Snapchat, I'm on Twitter, TikTok. But yeah, like I said, all of the equipment that I use to take my photos, or the equipment that I use to record this video, I'm gonna leave it in the description box. Also, I'm adding my makeup favorites. If anybody's interested in wondering what type of makeup I like to use, I'm also gonna add the link there down below. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful, and I'll see everyone next time. Bye.